but it will be nagging away if you're exposed to it on these North Sea coasts. The sea's pretty chilly, so it's going to make it feel fairly fresh. And it will just mean these eastern areas may just keep that cloud for a bit longer as well. It may take much of the day before it clears, and some of the coasts may stay murky all day. But for most places, dry and sunny, and I don't think we'll see any of the showers we had this afternoon across the southwest. So a dry day here, and that's where we'll see the top temperatures. Southwestern areas or western Scotland, 21, 22 degrees, but it will be quite a bit cooler on those North Sea coasts. Friday's a similar story, likely to start a bit grey over some central parts. The clouds should melt away inland, but may stick to some coasts for eastern England, for example. But generally, the sunny weather will continue, even into the weekend. Similar patterns, perhaps starting a bit grey and misty, but temperatures generally a touch above average, but staying chilly on those North Sea coasts.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You could be the next big winner on the road in this brand new Alnag Baron 560 motorhome, courtesy of Marquis Leisure. Imagine the fun you could have in this luxurious home from home worth over £67,000. We'll also give you £5,000 in tax-free cash to make your next getaway a great one. And it could be all yours. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new Royal Newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. We're going to give you the very best of tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out what kind of treatment the NHS is going to offer to trans toddlers. What on earth is going on there? If Gary Lineker's apology is going to be accepted by the Jewish community, and I'm essentially talking about Kerry and myself, and the BBC doubles down on its rubbish BBC Verify unit. That is a fact. I'm Josh Howie. Tonight I am joined by, look at them there, Paul Cox, and there's Kerry Marks. They're going to take you through Thursday's top stories. This is Headliners. it is. But before tomorrow's news, we're going to go to tonight's headlines with Mark White.
Hello there, the latest headlines from the GB News Centre. A man has been shot by police after a double stabbing in Liverpool. Emergency services were called to a residential street in Huyton after reports that a man and a woman had suffered stab injuries. At the scene, a suspect was shot and injured by armed police. All three have been transported to hospital. The two stabbing victims are reported to be seriously injured, but in a stable condition. There's no word on the condition of the man who was shot. The police watchdog, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, is now investigating. The Kremlin has confirmed that Vladimir Putin will not attend peace talks with the Ukrainian leader on Thursday. The Russian president was the one who proposed the peace talks in Turkey after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky demanded a 30-day ceasefire. Donald Trump has been turning up pressure on both sides to agree a temporary cessation in the fighting that continues to cause death and destruction across Ukraine. But in a snub to Volodymyr Zelensky, who agreed to the talks, the Kremlin confirmed a Russian presidential aide would attend instead of Mr. Putin. A prison officer has been attacked and had their throat slashed at a prison in Buckinghamshire. It was one of two attacks on officers at Wood Hill Prison in just 24 hours. GB News has been told of two other assaults on officers at HMP Gartree in Leicestershire and HMP Hewell in Worcestershire. The Lord Chancellor has announced a review into protective body armour for prison officers and a trial of tasers in jails. Gary Lineker has apologised unreservedly for an offensive social media post which featured a picture of a rat, saying he would never knowingly share anything anti-Semitic. The 64-year-old TV presenter came under criticism after he shared, then deleted a post on his Instagram account from the group Palestine Lobby. In a statement, he said, "I reposted material which I've since learned contained offensive references. I very much regret these references." The US president is in Qatar tonight, just hours after an historic but highly controversial meeting with Syria's new leader. That meeting with Ahmed al-Shara took place this morning in Saudi Arabia and comes just a day after the US lifted sanctions on Damascus. Al-Shara, a former al-Qaeda commander, led rebels in overthrowing the regime of Bashar al-Assad in December. He remains a designated terrorist in the US. And finally, a dramatic police chase with a difference. A Russian man led police in Florida on a marine chase for over an hour after stealing a luxury yacht worth around $2 million. He was eventually arrested when deputies used their own boats to push his onto the riverbank before boarding it. That's it. You're right up to date with the latest headlines. And now it is time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to Headliners, where we're going to give you the very best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. We have to say that last bit because that's what gets us out of trouble with Ofcom. For legal reasons. It was a joke.
That wasn't a very nice joke, Josh, actually.
Yeah, exactly. How are you guys doing?
Lovely. I mean, I'm looking forward to another hour of trying to make this lot amusing.
We have got lots of great stories. There are lots of jokes in there. And
oh, well, there absolutely is. I was just listening to the news, though. I mean, incredibly downbeat, isn't it?
Oh, well, that's...
As opposed to yesterday or the day before,
yeah, I mean,
or the day before
the
that,
news is
or
always
last week,
fun.
or every
we are
week,
here to bring light.
Yeah, what am I doing?
We are here to bring light into people's lives.
Yeah, there's some really funny things
People are looking at you,
happening.
Paul. They're seeing how thin you are. They're seeing how well you're doing. Look at this jacket that you've got, this quality.
I know.
Look, someone's doing all right, aren't they?
Hey.
A little bit there.
Trying to show us up.
Yeah.
I didn't used to be able to wear this because it wouldn't go round me, but now it does.
Look at that,
Oh,
TK
lucky
Maxx.
you.
Yes, I know.
But no, we've got loads of very funny. There's wars. There's horrible. There's murders and so on. There's
Gary
prisoners
Lineker
being out.
apologising.
Lineker apologising.
Trans
Well, that's
toddlers.
just like he could just repeat that every week,
toddlers.
really.
This
Trans
is
toddlers.
prime
Yeah, they're coming.
headliners material.
Marching.
Look, let's have a look at all the front pages then. Let's start with the Telegraph. NHS offers treatment for trans toddlers. I wonder if we're going to talk about that in a second. Mail, yet another Labour plan to go soft on criminals. I always go soft. Anyway, Guardian,
what was
minister
that? No.
accused of a surge in meetings with US tech firms. The Sun, Brexit. Brexit. OK, fine, there we go. Mirror, Dream Hall in Jail, Hell, and The Star, Big Fat Gypsy Theme Park battle. That looks fun. Well, look, first of all, Paul, let's go to the Daily Mail, shall we?
Yeah, Daily Mail, Josh. Yet another Labour plan to go soft on criminals. So, a little bit of background here. Criminals will be hauled back to jail for just a few weeks, 28 days, in fact, under Labour's latest pitiful soft justice measures. The words of the Mail, a journalist, not mine. Currently, if a prisoner is let out early on release for good behaviour, they are taken back in and they can serve as long as the rest of their sentence.
Which could be up to a week.
Yeah, almost.
Unless they've done some tweets.
Unless they've done a tweet, then they're back in for 20 more years.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know the facts of this policy, but it's not going to stop me, Josh. Obviously, it's ridiculous to be able to send people back and just say a month or to sort it out. And the only reason they're doing it, of course, is because we don't have space in our prisons.
Yes, because... and we don't have enough prison guards because they keep on sleeping with all the prisoners. I mean, really, if you're a prisoner, you want to go back into prison, surely, if you're going to...
No, it's very hard to get back in now. It's very hard. It used to be... I remember years ago there was a thing, if you're homeless, you throw a brick through a police station window or whatever and you get a night in a cell. But now, yeah, that used to be a thing. But nowadays, you can't get into a prison. You're going to court and they're saying, well, do you really want to go? We haven't really got enough space. It's as tough as we can be, depending on storage options, is where we're at. So, what decent crime isn't worth just doing a few weeks for?
Yeah,
really. That's where we're at now. And we're going to get to the stage soon where it's just give them a slap, It used to be you get out for good behaviour. Now it's not so terrible behaviour.
Absolutely. We've also got the...
Are they new glasses, by the way, as well?
I'm wearing different... These are not new to me. People are just noticing me now.
Paul, is it because, I mean, obviously you're on the show. I know how much they pay here, so I know it's not... You can't afford that jacket.
What have you got going on, Paul? What is it? What's your secret business?
So you've got a comedy... You have a comedy...
I run comedy clubs. I'm a secret...
Kerry, have you done his comedy club?
I have done his comedy club,
there are a lot of...
He booked me once and then didn't book me back.
I booked you both once.
You booked me both once.
Let's not talk about that now,
I thought I did really well.
Why have we both been booked once?
I don't know. I think I smashed
Not for now, guys. Not for now. You did both smash it. I wasn't there for yours, but I told you what.
I wasn't that bothered till I saw your new glasses, new jacket.
Look, there are some very well-dressed homeless people that are quite sleepy at this time of night. You just take the jacket off.
You know what?
By the way, can I just point out at the top of the page, you've got this weird thing showing the trial of Diddy and the trial of Erin Patterson on the two corners. It's almost like it's some kind of boxing contest with two opponents.
Yeah.
On this corner, we have Erin Patterson.
Who has more lube?
Who's going to win? Yeah. Something's going on there.
Well, look, let's go to the Telegraph. Now, the Telegraph, as always, is...
Tons.
Chock-a-block. I mean, just all of the news on one front page, essentially.
Well, we'll start with the really big stuff. How to wear florals without looking like Granny's curtains.
Yep.
I haven't read the article, but I assume it's telling your granny to get better curtains so the address doesn't get shown up.
I think Gran's curtains come in for unfair abuse.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's all coming back.
Well, looking at your jacket and glass, I imagine your brand's got really nice...
Right, what is going on?
Curtains. So the big story here is NHS offers treatment to trans toddlers. They just don't get it, do they? They don't get the cash report. They've gone, OK, so we're not allowed to give drugs out, but we should therefore treat children of an even younger age for some reason.
Well, up to now, they've said that they wouldn't see anybody less than 7.
Yeah.
Under 7. Now they're saying, well, actually, now we're going to see people under 7.
Look, fun fact, there are more unicorns than there are trans toddlers. There is no such thing as a trans toddler.
There is something called a mental parent.
Yes.
I would suggest so. I would suggest so. I don't want to cast aspersions,
but... There's dinosaur toddlers, the ones who think they're dinosaurs and want to be. There's astronaut toddlers.
Yeah, but why would we... A toddler can pretend to be whatever they want. Let toddlers be toddlers. The idea that...
No, they should become them. If they think they're an astronaut, they should become an astronaut.
True. My toddler pretends that he's the son of the guy next door, and it's totally valid.
Why is that, Josh? Why are you scaring your son next door?
The fact is, if there is a 3-year-old who not only says that they're trans, that's fine. my son believed that he was, you know, he was obsessed with his sister, he wanted to dress. You're like, fine, mate, go knock yourself out. But the point is, if this child is brought in by a parent who's affirming that, for me, that is child abuse. That's as far as I'm concerned.
I think children should have fun and be things and play games and whatever and associate with your neighbour if necessary. But I don't think you should confirm it.
These kids are all going to grow up. 20 years' time, all these kids are going to be like, why did you impose all this stuff on me? At school, I was taught I could be any gender I liked. You talked to me about my sexuality when I was 7. Why didn't people just let us grow up? There's going to be a whole bunch of kids who are going to be incredibly confused. They're going to be going home to their parents. Their parents are going to be equally as confused because they're not going to quite know what to do if they're not strong-minded enough, other than say, that's not true, the school...
Anyway, I disagree with both of you.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
transition them all.
There is actually something interesting in this article. The argument is going that because of the Cass report, this is why they're letting in kids, because what they're going to be doing, rather than just sending these kids straight onto drugs, and which is what they were doing before, we're talking about slightly older kids, early teens, and a little bit before that, what they're actually saying is, let's look at the underlying factors here, because we know that autism is a factor, we know that child abuse can be a big factor. So if there is a child who is rocking up at 5 years old and definitely convinced that they are the opposite sex, something is going on there, because they're not the opposite sex, and then it's up to the NHS to find out what it is. As long as they're not doing affirmation, going, yes, you are a girl, which is what they were doing before, then I think something needs to be investigated.
That's very liberal of you.
Well, it's not about liberal, it's about trying to sort it out. But it's a social contagion. There's a beautiful picture of our Queen there with her teeth. Her teeth, if we could put up the photo of that, because those teeth look suspicious to me. They look really nice. I know rich people have...
Did she borrow them from a horse?
They look... No, it's not. They don't even look horsey. They look normal.
Nice.
They look so beautiful.
Sorry, this is our Queen. I've just...
They're
you can't say that about the Queen.
They are very good teeth.
It's quite big news. She hosted a garden party.
Yes, 7,000 people. That's a lot of... you know, she was probably up all night making cucumber sandwiches.
When I grow up, I want to be the Queen.
Well, look, let's go on to another story here, totally unrelated. Assisted dying... bill may fail. More MPs have changed their mind. There's another story which is inside the newspaper, which is about psychiatrists withdrawing their support. Essentially, enough people voted for it to go to the next stage, and then it's been run. They've been sort of having experts on, and they've messed it up essentially.
The evolution of the assisted dying bill is quite extraordinary, really. It's quite a roller coaster. We're right to have this discussion. You know, I know this is supposed to be entertaining, and it's exactly what we're doing. But
come on, be funny about assisted dying right now, Paul.
I can't. I don't want to be. I mean, just going to the NHS sometimes is a form of assisted dying. But what's happened with this is, under scrutiny, it's just never really. It's failed to stand up at all. And now psychiatry are pulling out. The only people that appear to be voting for it are the MPs within the Scottish Parliament.
Yeah.
They're the sort of people that make
idiots.
Yeah, and they're the sort of people who make me want the assisted dying bill to go through.
I would suggest that if the Scottish Parliament is voting something, you can be guaranteed that it's an absolute
almost
cluster.
certainly.
Yeah, totally. And so this is some MPs getting cold feet about it, and also the Royal College of Psychiatrists, and they're talking about really it's about people with mental illness being talked into doing this. But
yes.
I thought that's their job, though. I thought isn't that their job to work out who's who and say no, this person is incapacitated and can't make a decision. I think
the danger under the assisted dying bill is someone can self-diagnose.
No, but the point is that it's meant to be for people with terminally ill conditions, but what they're talking about are people with anorexia. There are people in other countries with like anorexia and all these other conditions who are coming in and have sort of found this loophole to end their life.
Yes, but they're trying to kill the assisted dying bill, and that's wrong.
Let's put it out of its misery.
Double death on it. And as I've said before, my position is I so believe in it, and I believe that we should even have the right to vote who dies, because that makes for better TV. You know, you think of some of the presenters we could get off.
The X Factor.
I don't know why you're looking at me when you say that.
Josh.
That's not fair.
I would love to win a vote.
Yeah.
That would be the first time that I ever win a vote. What about this? We've got second homeowners must pay more than double tax. So if there's anybody in a home with an empty home in London, at the moment they can be charged double the tax.
Yeah.
But
it's conflicting, this story, isn't it? Because actually,
council tax.
I think Sadiq Khan's got a good point here. I know. That's Twitter's going mental. That's it now. I'm cancelled. But I mean, there are a lot. It's hardly big news. There's a huge housing shortage in London because there's a huge amount of people. They're failing to build. They built one of the lowest number of houses in 1 year.
4,000 properties last year in a major city, one of the biggest cities in the world, and they only started building 4,000 properties. That's insane.
Local councils now have the right to charge double if you have a second home, so you can pay council tax twice. What they're saying now is to go even further than that and charge more for people that leave their flats vacant. And in some cases, people are buying brand new flats, very wealthy people, and leaving them vacant because they don't need to rent them out because they'll just appreciate a rate that's enough.
I'm really surprised that Paul's taking this particular position with his new jacket and fancy glasses. The plan is to increase revenue by like 500. It was 549 million. It will go to an estimated 1.2 billion. So in a sense, it's good, and it's going to be fairly popular because it's a tax that punishes people who are too middle class, even for the middle class. But I think there's an element to it, though, isn't it? There's an element that's also a smokescreen for the failure to build houses and to say this is another way to bring in revenue. It's a bit like saying, you know, we can't make more bread, but we're going to tax people who make toast.
OK, yeah.
So that'll get them back.
I wanted to mention one more little thing here before we move on. Jill Biden ran the White House. This book came out. Jill Biden, of course, Ben Biden's, Joe Biden's wife. Yeah. And because of his sort of mental state, it seems like she had an incredible amount of power and was basically controlling access to him. Is there a sitcom in there?
There probably is a sitcom in there. It just feels like most households where actually the man believes that he's running the house.
Yes.
But the woman is, naturally.
Do you think Melania Trump is running everything at the moment? Possibly.
She's probably got her hand in a few things.
So.
But this is really Jill Biden was working him like a puppet. And if you see a lot of the times when you see Biden talking, they don't bring the camera out and you see he's actually on her knee and she's working his head.
Yeah, well, maybe he's just doing a prostate exam.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, look, we're going to come back in a second. We have more front pages. We've got the front page of The Guardian. We also have, which we've missed out, but I want to spend the appropriate amount of time to deal with it. We have Gary Lineker's apology for putting out an anti-Semitic social media post. We're going to be getting into that one. And we might even mention it this Sunday on Free Speech Nation. Join our audience. Come along. It's a lot of fun. You can get free crisps. Just scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/tickets. It's Sunday, 7 to 9 p.m. It's a lot of fun. And we will see you in a few moments with The Guardian. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This must have been the most difficult time.
Yeah, for him, yeah, obviously. But I noticed there's no mention of the one that happened to me when I was a Top Gear presenter, when I ended up upside down in a ditch just outside Ormskirk and had to burrow my way out of the wreckage.
Gosh.
He was then taken to hospital having been scalped with numerous injuries and was told to keep quiet and not tell anybody about it. And get this, had to ride back from the hospital to my house on a motorcycle. They just keep quiet about it. And they just paid off the guy whose Lotus Classic car was completely written off in the accident.
Gosh.
And the only trace of this incident is on my Wikipedia page, where at the bottom it says, "We love getting together as presenters so we could have a good laugh about what Steve Berry had crashed that week. Jeremy Clarkson, having a good old laugh at my expense."
Well, Steve, I'm really sorry. I had no idea that had happened to you, and obviously,
equally... nobody's got any idea what happened to me. They just had a good old laugh about it. I had to burrow my way out to that car like a badger. My hands were cut to shreds, and I had to ride home. Having been scalped, I had to have my scalp stapled back onto my head. They told me to shut up and keep quiet about it. And I got £6,000. The problem for me is it's just dangerous. Once you start messing about with cars and motorbikes, it's just you're rolling the dice every single time you do it. And every so often, it's going to come up staircase. And it did for Freddie, and I feel sorry for the lad. It's terrible what happened to him. But I'll tell you what, that £9 million must...
Well, it's a dangerous game, isn't it? Steve Berry, thanks indeed for joining us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. We're going to get straight into some more front pages. We're going to go with The Guardian. Paul!
The Guardian, my favourite newspaper. Minister accused over surge in meetings with US big tech firms. So the minister...
Make this funny, go.
I cannot make this funny. The more I read about this, the less I understand why The Guardian think this is a big story.
Well, he's had 80-plus meetings with foreign tech companies, particularly American ones, and the British tech companies are like going, remember us? Hello? Hello, we're over here. So I'm trying to make it funny for just...
That's
Hello?
good. That's fine. At least you're trying. Paul was just like, Minister accused of a surge in meetings.
Well, maybe Paul doesn't have any impressions of British tech companies.
Well, was that the British tech company?
Yes, it was.
We've got to look better than that, Kerry. We have to look better than
Anyways,
that.
Peter Carlin, that's that story.
Yeah, but I mean, look, don't we want ministers to be sucking up to big American tech companies?
I mean, I think we have to. I mean, whether we want to or not, I mean, this is the problem. They've got a monopoly in tech. I guess it's a serious story, perhaps on online safety, but Guardian, whatever.
Yeah. All right, well, look, they've also got a picture of the...
Very dismissive, Paul.
Yeah, that was very... But he was doing an impression. He was doing a silly voice. He tried it. We've got Mission Impossible. They've got a photo of them there. I love these. If we can just put this up for a second, I don't know if people will be able to see this at home. To describe it to people who are watching this on the radio, there's a photo at the premiere in the middle of The Guardian, and they're just being very, like... Hey, we're having such...
Oh, my God, we're so normal.
Fun. We're so fun, aren't we, guys?
Yeah, but that's
Look at us taking a selfie.
what we're doing on the programme here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, everybody, we're just normal like you as we're on a red carpet
we know better
taking a selfie. We don't use... You know, there's only, like, 10,000 photographers that are surrounding them as they pretend to take this one photo. I've only had a budget for a photographer here. Anyway, mental. So we've also got possible world peace coming. Putin's still not confirming whether or not he's going to go...
Well, yeah, for a while it was going to be Putin and Erdogan was going to be there like some kind of villain convention. Yeah. And then there was the question of whether Zelensky was going to be going along at all and then whether Trump was going to be going. And now it looks like Trump's not going to be going and Putin's not going to be going and Zelensky's going to turn up on his own in some empty room. Hello, everyone, I wore a suit, what's going on?
Could be a trap.
You know, well, it's looking that way.
Yeah.
What's your thought, Paul?
I think Putin's a coward. And I can only say that because I don't have a balcony.
I agree.
So if I'm found dead at the bottom of the balcony...
You hate sushi. Yeah. You don't have any doorknobs.
No, I don't have any doorknobs.
You don't live in any city that has a cathedral.
He's never going to do anything, Putin, to stop this war because it's the only thing keeping him in power and I don't like him.
Fair enough. An interesting... from one of the stories that... Yeah, well, very brave of you, Paul.
So controversial stuff.
There's a little bit extra about this story about the prisons is because part of it, this reason, which we didn't really mention, is that our prisons are full. They're spending $4.7 billion to build 3 new prisons. Possibly that money, if they put that money into policing our borders... Maybe we wouldn't need that many prisons. I'm just throwing that out there. Is that very right-wing of me to say that?
It's getting more right.
Well, big plans, big picture.
Big picture plans.
Big picture plans.
We are importing crime. And it's statistically proven now, isn't it? We are importing...
Well, it's not that we're importing it. That suggests that we are... It's more that we're allowing it to be...
Yeah, I mean, not deliberately recruiting it. We're not going out there and finding the best criminals in the world. But what I mean is, you know, when you have... Come!
I wouldn't mind if we had the best criminals in the world, as long as they didn't rob us.
Yeah.
It would be good if...
Who do we want them to rob?
You know what would be... Well, it would just be nice if we could be sending out some spam scams to everybody else. Hi, I'm in England and I've just inherited £100 million. If you send me your bank details, that would be... I wouldn't mind if some of the money...
I think at some point you're going to get an app that will tell you how full the prison is right now and whether you commit a crime or not.
Yeah.
So you go, it looks like I'm safe for a few weeks until they let out some more.
OK, well, let's go on to the Mirror, Kerry.
Let's go on to the Mirror Carey, which is, I am the Mirror Carey, dream holiday to jail hell. Family's anguish as 18-year-old who went missing in Thailand found in Eastern European prison. I don't really understand what this story is. She went missing and then she was discovered there, or did she actually go to
I believe she tried to smuggle some drugs.
Yeah, she
probably
smuggled
in
some
her
cannabis.
bottom.
Or reportedly cannabis. And
just guessing.
I'm just guessing from the films I've seen.
Yeah?
Or she ate it. I don't know.
Or just the way you
and
do
now,
it.
Yeah, and she's now ended up in an Eastern European...
Yeah, but was she there all the whole time and they thought she was in Thailand, or did she vanish in Thailand and then get smuggled into a jail somewhere in Europe?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery on the front of the Mirror.
I don't know. We've only got this here telling us, so...
But we've got a picture of her in a bikini, and that's the important thing.
Yeah,
for the Mirror. At least they got that out there.
Well, this is the Mirror. It's sandwiched between stories of drugs and bikini shots and free ice cream voucher.
I must admit, I saw the free ice cream vouchers and I thought, I'm having some of that.
That's interesting, because just below the free ice cream voucher, there's a picture of a semi-naked woman.
You didn't see that?
And you, on your journey to sveltness, you're like, ice cream!
Yeah, but he's like,
I
she's in a
immediately
prison
saw
right
the
now.
voucher. I didn't even notice the semi-naked
And you know
woman.
what Lewis Schaefer would see on this paper? £1.80. That's what he would focus
I've seen
on.
ice cream.
There's also a story about
You've
Miss
seen naked
Sweden,
ladies.
by the way. She's in shock.
I don't care about
She's
Miss
in shock because she was happy.
Okay,
I don't know what the rest of it is, but she's not happy anymore.
Let's talk about some of
No one's happy when they're in
We've got
shock.
some stories inside the newspapers. This was on the front of the Telegraph, though, but it is in all the other papers. Let's go, Kerry, to the Independent.
Right.
And another just innocent slippage from Mr. Lineker.
You're giving this one to me because I'm a Jew, yeah?
Yep.
I knew that was happening.
I do not
the
trust...
way this programme's going is...
I do not trust Paul to talk about it.
What do you call non-Jews?
Gary Lineker apologises after sharing anti-Semitic social media posts. They've left out the words yet again.
And they also put anti-Semitic in a sort of little anti-Semitic, like in a. Oh, I'm going to.
Like it's not really.
Oh no, and there they've actually changed their headline to Zionism post. So that's interesting. We've got a different headline to the one that they've also put
and there's
down.
a massive differentiation.
On the screen it said Zionism.
Oh, I see. Right.
And what we have is anti-Semitic, and of
because
course
the video that was shared by him said Zionism explained in less than 2 minutes. I mean, how he can't have watched it. Or he's incredibly ignorant.
OK, well, let's talk about this. First of all, Zionism, 94% of Jews are Zionists. Zionism, all it means is that Jews have the right to have self-determination, why would you deny that to any
And by the way, not
group?
even much self-determination on a piece of land the size of half a peanut. The people want to... And if
the size of Wales.
And if you want to find out about what Zionism is, most courses, when you go to, like, Columbia, Penn and all the big universities across America, Canada, Australia and so on, those courses are part of the anti-colonialist courses taught by anti-Semites.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if you could only take a feminism course that was taught by incels. It's that insane.
It is.
And then you get someone like Gary Lineker, who believes he's some kind of expert on this and says, no, it's just about Gaza, when it wasn't. It was about Zionism. Down into 2 minutes.
Yeah, and also it was just a video, it was just lies that was put out by... So there's a few interesting things here. One is that I'm sure he thinks he's a great guy, and he sees the tragedy that's going on in Gaza, and he thinks he's being a humanitarian about it, but he's not being honest or knowledgeable about why the situation is as it is, and also he's just absorbing this total propaganda from Jew haters. Now, this group that put out, the Palestinian Lobby, this is the thing. He thinks he's taking in all this information and it's real and it's true, and these people are literally... They hate Jews. And this is exactly the kind of stuff that he's been absorbing. And he's sharing it, in this case, to 1.2 million people, which is... There are only 15 million Jews in the world.
That's
and
the 15th of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked that out.
Anyway, sorry, I don't want to take this over. Let Paul... You tell us about this one.
I really look forward to this bit, where the only
What do you think?
The non-Jew on the panel
don't feel any
starts to
pressure.
talk. I mean, I'm totally behind Gary on this.
Well, you could talk about Denny Baker. He's one of yours.
Oh, yeah, he is. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying that he had a similar incident a few years ago. A lot of people think he was very unfairly treated during that. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a very good parallel to what that happened. Yet, of course, the BBC are going, oh, well, it's Gary, innit? It's Gary, just Gary being Gary.
Look, if he's going to share this stuff, he's got to at least educate himself on what he's doing. The idea of sending the unreserved apology is always in the pocket, isn't it? For any one of these people, they fling it out there and they go, "Oh, did I do something wrong? Oh, OK, I'll just get out my unreserved apology, and that'll do the job." I mean, what apologies come with reservations?
Yeah, and of course we're paying his salary. Kerry, he says here, he says, "I have since learned contained offensive references." Yet, to quote him in the past, he says, before he posts anything, he agonises whether he should and really takes it all in. So either he is lying one way or the other.
This is always the problem, is for someone... I can understand if people didn't understand the reference to a rap, but for someone who is this indulged in the subject, who's really, talks about it a lot, you'd think he would know what a basic reference that was.
And someone who's referenced 1930s Nazi imagery in the past...
Sure. I'd really like to not care what Gary Lineker thinks about anything, but it's, of course, it's with huge pay and the backing of the BBC. And there's a lot of people out there who do take their geopolitics from Lineker and kneecap and ice cream sellers. So, you know, what do you do?
Did you say ice cream?
That's the one I was thinking of.
Now you've got his attention.
Sorry, I just woke up.
We've got some skin in the game here, Kerry, but mention ice cream, suddenly he's paying attention. Well, look, let's do a very quick story before we head to the break. Unfortunately, it's not particularly funny, but is justice elusive in The Guardian, Paul?
More miscarriages of justice inevitable, say CCRC. Review a lawyer after Peter Sullivan freed. So Peter Sullivan is a man that was imprisoned for a murder that he subsequently didn't commit, although he was imprisoned in 1980...
He didn't commit it before either.
Well, yeah. Subsequently found not to have committed. But he was jailed in 1987. So he served 38 years.
38 years?
38 years.
For something he hasn't done.
In prison, 38 years.
He went in back when phones were on call, and he's come out when phones have feelings. This is what's gone on in this amount of time. He's I'm wondering, does he get credit? If you commit some murder now and the judge says you get 20 years, does he say, well,
there's a very serious nature to
got that.
This guy never gets his life back. Let's not forget that. But what the underlying thing here is that the CCRC just won't face up to the mistakes that they're making. There seems to be this hubris and arrogance around the justice system, which says we must just focus on the original conviction.
If there was a conviction, then it was definitely true. They're talking here, there are 1,600 cases of rape and murder where there is an issue about identity where this new test could have done. Now, the most incredible thing to me in this article is the fact that the test that exonerated him existed 11 years ago.
Yeah.
They had 11 years he was in jail where this test would have just instantly gone, no, it wasn't him. That's insane.
They're not doing their job, is what we're saying, right?
That's exactly what we're saying.
That's how I feel about it. But it's also, bear in mind, he went to jail, he was innocent, got called guilty at a time when half the people on TV were actually guilty and getting knighthoods, you know? So the whole thing, but all this... But 2035, it'll all be some neural memory scanners, and we'll be sorted out. Yeah, totally.
Download our thoughts.
Keep this clip and prove it when it happens.
Fine, OK, well, look, we're going to be finding out some more of tomorrow's front pages. We're going to do the Times next. We're also going to be doing some of the stories inside. The BBC are actually going to be expanding their BBC Verify fact-checking unit. That seems like chucking my money after bad, essentially. So come back and check out that story in a couple of minutes.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. The fine, sunny weather will continue for most of us through the weekend. It's always going to be a bit cloudier in the east, particularly so tomorrow morning, and always quite cool on the east coast as well. That's because of the position of the high. It sits to the north. It's the high pressure that's bringing the fine weather, but the winds are swinging in from the North Sea, bringing a chilly feel at times to parts of eastern England and to eastern Scotland, and introducing this cloud and mist, which will just seep inland as we go through the night, making for a fairly grey start to tomorrow over the Midlands and eastern England. Quite a chilly start further west with the clear skies, certainly over western Scotland. We could easily see some pockets of frost in rural spots, but there should be plenty of sunshine here throughout Thursday. These eastern areas, though, will start pretty drab, so more clouds than this morning over the Midlands, southeast England. It may take a while to clear. Plenty of sunshine, though, for southwest England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and indeed much of Scotland. And with the help of that sunshine, those temperatures soon tick picking up. Notice this northerly breeze, not especially strong, but it will be nagging away if you're exposed to it on these North Sea coasts. The sea's pretty chilly, so it's going to make it feel fairly fresh. And it will just mean these eastern areas may just keep that cloud for a bit longer as well. It may take much of the day before it clears, and some of the coasts may stay murky all day. But for most places, dry and sunny, and I don't think we'll see any of the showers that we had this afternoon across the southwest. So a dry day here, and that's where we'll see the top temperatures. Southwestern areas or western Scotland, 21, 22 degrees, but it will be quite a bit cooler on those North Sea coasts. Friday's a similar story, likely to start a bit grey over some central parts. The clouds should melt away inland, but may stick to some coasts for eastern England, for example. But generally, the sunny weather will continue. Even into the weekend, similar patterns, perhaps starting a bit grey and misty, but temperatures generally a touch above average, but staying chilly on those North Sea coasts.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Just want to make sure you definitely don't want me to mention that. Yeah. OK, fine. Right, welcome back to Headliners then. Let's go to a few more front pages in the Times, Paul.
Yeah,
and you've got a friend watching.
Yeah, I do. Early release for sexual release offenders as jails on brink. So this is public will be at risk. So this is, of course, the story that we've already covered. But up here there is some food I noticed. There's chips in this, and it's the
you are really struggling.
So there's no ice cream in this one, but there is chips.
Paul,
so I was looking at that, and it says here, women, here's how to get your libido back, which is nothing to do with me.
This is all connected. Now, no one's really talked about this. Even on Patrick's show, they didn't really talk about this. I think this is potentially one of the big stories of the day, and it's kind of hidden a little bit up the top. Starmer meets Albanian leader for shared migration solution. So this is about failed asylum seekers being sent to hubs. Now, that's a big deal and a big step in terms of actually a practical solution to removing people from this country, right? Kerry, what do you think?
Well, yeah, he's speaking to the Albania Prime Minister, Edi Rama, and it is that. It's the idea of hubs. Where it's going to come round to is, I think it's going to be a new policy eventually called something like Rwanda. I think it's where it's going to end up.
Which rhymes with Albania.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But Eminem could probably make it.
It's basically the Rwanda plan was horrifying to people, and now we're just sort of coming back round to
You know what could happen is we could be spending... Let's spend hundreds of millions doing up some hotels in Albania, and then fighting it through the courts, and then Labour will be kicked out, and then let's choose another country.
Yes.
So let's just do it let's give hundreds of millions to all of these countries one at a time, make them so much better than the UK that eventually people go, actually, we've got a great country here.
Or I just get myself in a position where I can be sent there. Just send me somewhere lovely.
Albania's beautiful country.
It looks
very nice.
All right, well,
thank you.
Let's go on to the Daily Express.
You look great in your jacket and your glasses.
You're going to be the Prime Minister. So what's going on with the Daily Express? Are there any more pictures of food for Paul to...
I didn't notice any of that. Oh, no, there is sausages and
at the
some sort of pork chop.
There's a hosepipe ban in the summer, but it's not even a piece of news.
It's almost inevitable.
It's just almost inevitable. So it's not even inevitable. That's their news
almost
at the top of the Express.
Inevitable.
It's almost...
Do you know how to say inevitable?
Inevitable.
Inevitable. OK,
you can say inevitable
if you have a garden? Do you have a garden?
No, I don't.
I don't have a garden. You do have a garden.
I do have a garden.
Share it.
Of course you have a garden with your jacket and glasses.
I have a garden, I have a jacket, I have glasses.
That's why he's obsessed with all this, like, sausages. He's probably got barbecue as well.
I do have barbecue. But I mean, obsessed with sausages because I haven't eaten many lately.
All right, then. Well,
anyway, there's that. And there's also new demand to reverse cruel winter fuel cuts.
This is the hottest day of the year so far. This is the day to be talking about this.
What's going to happen
poor old freezing people on the hottest day of the year.
Of course, well, there are other parts of the year where it will be a concern, but what happened was they brought in the winter fuel thing. It was really unpopular, and it's going to end up being a Rwanda plan. This is what I believe.
Do you think
everything will end up being
what about
the Rwanda plan?
Okay, can I just say something?
Against.
I'm just going to throw this out there.
Yes.
This is going to upset people.
Good.
Let's send OAPs to Rwanda.
Is it warmer?
That's what I'm saying.
It certainly is.
They've got the nice hotels now. No one's thinking of outside the box.
Rwanda could be our Florida.
That's going to free up all the housing.
Genius.
OK, that's thrown out here. So, yes, they are. This is the Shadow Work and Pension Secretary saying, stop being so cruel, Labour. Now, do you believe in the concept of not giving the winter fuel allowance to some pensioners? I.e., if you can't afford it, then they shouldn't get it.
But
right?
I've not seen anyone arguing for that. Means tested is absolutely fine. If Alan Sugar always gets used, doesn't he? Because he's of the age that he could claim, and he used to be able to claim. He's a multi-millionaire, if not billionaire.
He lost a lot of money on Amstrad.
He did lose a lot of money on Amstrad. Great green screens.
I keep saying means tested, not mean tested.
Hey,
that's the problem
you should
here.
Be a politician.
What it was never going to be popular with their party. It was the wrong look from the word go.
Well, we had freezing elderly people. We got to look after them.
People aren't into that. Freezing elderly people were never on an advert.
All right, well, let's look at some of the stories inside the newspapers. We're going to be looking at the Telegraph poll with the BBC digging an even bigger hole.
Yes, BBC to expand controversial Verify fact-checking unit. This is Tim Davies, the broadcaster's Director General, of course, and he's announced plans to build Verify across more services globally and give it a greater role in local UK reporting as part of a mission to nurture trust.
Oh,
that's in inverted commas, and it should be, because the BBC Verify is possibly one of the most sinister things available to. I'm angry now.
Wow,
I really don't like BBC
Someone quickly
Verify.
show him a picture of a sausage or something. Calm him
Give
down.
me some ice cream. Do something. Take the jacket off me. But no, I think BBC Verify. The BBC are so indoctrinated in one type of politics, as far as I'm concerned. They're always on the wrong side of stuff. Not always. They make great documentaries. I love David Attenborough. Didn't like Rolf Harris, but. I don't remember
the Rolf Harris.
No,
it's very specific.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. Okay. But they get so much wrong, and we have to pay for the privilege. This is what I don't like. I don't like having to pay a mandatory payment to be told what to think.
When it's called BBC Verify and it makes many factual errors and also arguably promotes flawed journalism, as it says here, and promotes ideologies, the narratives that they want to sell about certain issues, particularly, has to be said, not impartial here, but particularly around Israel and Gaza, but amongst other issues as well. That's the issue. This is meant to be nurturing trust, and they're using this service, and the service is actually messing up all the time.
They had false claims about net zero. They had Iran-backed journalists that they were using as a source at one point. They had wrong information about on analysis about the farm tax and so on. I think what it is, they're going to bring it back, but 100% more smug. And it's and nothing really says impartiality like a state broadcaster fact-checking itself. What they really need is a BBC Verify of BBC Verify.
Yeah, it's called GBNews.
Verify their own
What's
Verify.
called?
We are
GBNews,
Verify.
Give us some money, BBC.
Journalism should and really is the last bastion of free speech. We should have great journalism in our country. The BBC, unfortunately, has been eroded and we don't have great journalism. I don't support this because they don't do great journalism.
Maybe they should spend
the money... They still have some great journalism, but it's getting less and less and more ideological.
Well, don't give BBC Verify any more money. Use that money and give it to the journalists to supposedly do their job.
Yes.
But, of course, some of them fail.
The journalists don't run the station, though, do they? And that's the problem.
Yeah. What we're missing is really good journalism, and they're not solving misinformation, they're just adding to the noise with this.
Look, let's do one more story before the break. And The Guardian needs some help.
Noise.
Thank you, Kerry. Guardian needs...
in case someone didn't know what noise was, I thought I'd do some.
No, you did a really good noise. Guardian needs some help here. Shut up! Jeez Louise. All right. Can we have another story? Yeah. Guardian.
Wow.
Wow. You better believe it. Wow. OK.
He was so laid back until now.
The Guardian needs some help here, Kerry. Because this is an important story that I know people want to hear about. The EHRC, they don't know what a woman is. This is a big deal.
UK equality watchdog to extend gender guidance consultations, say insiders who'd ought to know. So the UK's equality watchdog, basically, it's the decision of that came out from the Supreme Court recently, which is to be discussed. And now the length of time is to be discussed is going longer because people don't really understand. They're getting so confused. They're saying it was over-literal because the decision was literal, which for them is over-literal. And basically, they're still protesting biology, and we have to let them because if we stop them, they're going to start debating gravity. And this is going to get all really
exactly.
problematic.
So, Paul, I'm now going to say a statement, but present it as a question, but I'm going to provide all the information in the actual statement for you.
Are you going to tell us what to say?
Yes, exactly.
OK.
All right, this is, for me, would you agree, Paul, that this is a shameful article in The Guardian and really just pushes its ideology because they've got a supposed whistleblower who is saying that there's all this disquiet within the EHRC and they're saying they need more time to give out the correct advice. They gave out the advice after 9 days. That advice was very crystal clear, fully explains exactly what the Supreme Court says, what the law has been confirmed to be about women's spaces, that it applies to biological women only. And you have an article here which is just trying to muddy the water and is just full of wishful thinking. So people can point to this Guardian article and go, oh, look, the Guardian is saying that actually there's a lot of people who don't agree at the HL. What would you say to that, Paul?
Tell me disagree, Paul.
Well, I completely agree.
Thank you, Paul.
Don't let him have his
Great
way.
insight.
If you're not sure, boys have willies and girls don't.
Oh, ridiculous.
Wow, very
That's just silly.
Right. Well, look, coming up, we've got one more section to go. We have the front page of the Sun. Finally, we've got to it. We deliberately held on to it because you knew you would stick around to the very Brexit. We're going to get into Brexit.
Big
we
story.
also have some great stories about what was it about face blindness and Margaret Thatcher, a Margaret Thatcher festival. You don't want to go anywhere. See you in 2 minutes.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. Some heavy downpours and gusty winds over the central Mediterranean thanks to a storm system over the next few days, particularly wet and windy on Thursday across Sicily. That heavy rain and those gusty winds will spread more widely across Italy and up towards parts of Croatia later this week. Some heavy showers too for Sardinia, northern parts of Spain. Generally dry, but on the cool and sunny side in Portugal. Sunny skies for Barcelona into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Welcome back to Headliners. We're going to get straight into the front page of the Sun, Paul.
Yes, Brexit. So this is Harry and Meghan host Brooklyn and Nick to help in Family Feud. Apparently, Brooklyn and Nick are married, eldest son of David and Victoria Beckham. They've kind of had a feud within the family. So they've gone to another couple that have famously had a feud with their family. And apparently, it's a secret. I don't think it is a secret. It's on the front of the Sun, so that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
for
they
them.
went for the photo opportunity for their big secret meeting.
Yeah, I mean
they might have. That might be Photoshop.
Yeah, I think it might be, Kerry. For goodness sake, mate.
I don't care. I don't always care if I'm right.
We've got to move on. No one cares.
It's a Court of the Exiles. It's an Oprah special of Windsors and Wags. And anyway, then we've got the Daily Star Big Fat Gypsy Theme Park Battle, which is something about a big fat gypsy or a big fat park, or it might be a big fat theme. But the theme park of the gypsies is in competition with the other park of the gypsy theme.
No, I don't think that's what it is. I think it is.
That's what it is.
At Universal Studios, there's a bunch of travellers living on site because they didn't put that block up. You know, they do in the car park. Yeah. They don't let them go into the car park. Someone just left the thing on, and everybody got to drive in and out. So not only are there loads of travellers there now, but they're probably using all the rides.
Anyway, it's awful. It's awful. I'll tell you that.
We have a great story. We're going to do it very quickly. Express Paul, will this festival give out free milk?
Margaret Thatcher Festival announced. Get in there. Iron Lady, beer and other surprises. So we don't know when it's going to be. My guess is the way he's going, Keir Starmer will be the organiser, but we don't know what's going to...
This is Grantham in Lincolnshire, where she's from.
It's going to be her 100th birthday.
But you should do a gig. If you're watching from Grantham and you're the mayor, get Paul, we'll do a gig. Maybe they'll even book us.
This is going to take over from the Edinburgh Festival. I can see it happening. The big Thatcher...
Are you going to go to the Margaret Thatcher Festival?
Well, I mean, it sounds that they're up to the point going... this is like two guys in a pub going, well, we could have, like, themed drinks and things. So they haven't even come up with good names for them yet.
That's what they've come up with.
Yeah, that's about it, really. There's a couple of stoners with an idea, about a Thatcher theme park.
I think
she would never go, by the way.
She would definitely go. She would love it. OK, so the show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Thursday's front pages. We're going to go to the Telegraph. NHS offers treatment for trans toddlers. That is one of the most mental stories of the night. The Mail, yet another Labour plan to go soft on criminals. Guardian, minister accused of a surge in meetings with US tech firms. That's his job. The Sun, Brexit, who cares? Mirror, dream holiday to jail, hell. And The Star, big fat gypsy theme park battle. That's it for tonight's show. Thank you to my guests, Paul and Kerry. I'm going to be here tomorrow with Steve and Alan, Nick Dixon. If you're watching 5am repeat, see you then. And have a great day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye then. See ya.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. The fine sunny weather will continue for most of us through the weekend. It's always going to be a bit cloudier in the east, particularly so tomorrow morning, and always quite cool on the east coast as well. That's because of the position of the high. It sits to the north. It's the high pressure that's bringing the fine weather, but the winds are swinging in from the North Sea, bringing a chilly feel at times to parts of eastern England and to eastern Scotland, and introducing this cloud and mist, which will just seep inland as we go through the night. making for a fairly grey start to tomorrow over the Midlands and eastern England. Quite a chilly start further west with the clear skies, certainly over western Scotland. We could easily see some pockets of frost in rural spots, but there should be plenty of sunshine here throughout Thursday. These eastern areas, though, will start pretty drab, so more clouds than this morning over the Midlands, southeast England. It may take a while to clear. Plenty of sunshine, though, for southwest England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and indeed much of Scotland. And with the help of that sunshine, those temperatures soon ticking up. Notice this northerly breeze, not especially strong, but it will be nagging away if you're exposed to it on these North Sea coasts. The sea's pretty chilly, so it's going to make it feel fairly fresh. And it will just mean these eastern areas may just keep that cloud for a bit longer as well. It may take much of the day before it clears, and some of the coasts may stay murky all day. But for most places, dry and sunny, and I don't think we'll see any of the showers we had this afternoon across the southwest. So a dry day here, and that's where we'll see the top temperatures. Southwestern areas or western Scotland, 21, 22 degrees, but it will be quite a bit cooler on those North Sea coasts. Friday's a similar story, likely to start a bit grey over some central parts. The clouds should melt away inland, but may stick to some coasts for eastern England, for example. But generally, the sunny weather will continue. Even into the weekend, similar patterns, perhaps starting a bit grey and misty, but temperatures generally a touch above average, but staying chilly on those North Sea coasts.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
Look at the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness. That's wonderful. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GB News.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it. Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Very, very good evening and welcome to GBN Tonight with me, your host tonight, Martin Dordley. On tonight's show, outstanding, astonishing new analysis has Reform set to win a landslide majority, sending the Labour Party into a huge panic, with big beasts such as Ed Miliband set to lose their seats. I'll speak to the man who carried out this analysis. Plus, is the Prime Minister about to betray Brexit once again when he attends an EU reset next week, a so-called surrender summit? Well, reports suggest he could be about to surrender our fishing waters to Brussels once again. And coming up next, outrage is growing after it's revealed that the three companies housing asylum seekers, and that is Serco, Clear Springs and Mears, well, they owe tens of millions of pounds to the Home Office after pocketing profits well above agreed limits. Don't forget, this is your money, the taxpayers' money, and they're transferring it all as profits. Is it time to pay it back? That's next. Now, welcome to the show. Now, contain your tears. Please put down that cup of tea, because a new poll we're about to cover shows that Ed Miliband could lose his seat to the Reform Party at the next general election if those council elections last Thursday were to be replicated in a Westminster vote. And there's more in this poll. There could be a wipeout of the Labour Party and those councils, and it's terrible news for the Tories too. But the Liberal Democrats could be making gains. The political landscape has never been more volatile. Ed Miliband could be for the chop. Now, get in touch the usual ways. gbnews.com/your say is the way to do it. But first, is your headlines, and it's that man, the legend, Mark White.
Good evening. The latest headlines from the GB News Centre. A prison officer has been attacked and had their throat slashed at a prison in Buckinghamshire. It was one of two attacks on officers at Wood Hill Prison in just 24 hours. GB